Hello, good evening to all the viewers of my driving instructions. And today I am going to start my formal recording relating to the driving as well as fitness. You all know that fitness is very important and health is wealth. So even if you're a driver also, if you have if you are fit, you are mentally healthy and physically fit, then you can perform any kind of task. So before giving instructions on driving, I just wanted all my drivers and the student drivers to take care of your health, which is your wealth. And before you go to especially before you go on a long trip, it's always better to do some stretching exercise, which is mostly relating to your driving while you are driving your car or any vehicle. Okay, so before doing any stretching exercise, first warming up is must. For warming up, you don't need a lot of space. You can just on the spot you can use the space whatever is available. Like you can do the on the spot jogging on the spot. You keep jogging maybe for 3-4 minutes or at the most 5 minutes. This way you will warm up your body. And then you can do jumping jacks also here. You see, you can do jumping jacks. This way you keep your body warm. Okay. And since I'm just showing you the technique, so I'm not going to go too long. So now after that we can do like arm rotation, which is must while you drive. Rotate in front and rotate at the back, and then you can do alternate rotation also this way, and you can go at the back. Always you have to do repetition on both the sides, and then you can just stretch and open your chest, stretch and open your chest, and then you can do this every time. When you stretch your hands up, at the same time you have to lift your heel up like this. Okay, then you can do like this, clapping also. This way you will be warmed up. So after that, since wrist and your ankle is involved while driving, so we can do the wrist and ankle rotation. You see, you can do at the same time. Outside first, then inside. You have to do the same repetition. Now I'm going to do the other leg. You see, outside and inside. Okay, then you can do your this thing finger, because you have to grip the steering wheel. You have to just do this exercise. Okay, and maybe since turning of the waist and trunk is also involved in driving, so you can do hip rotation here, hip rotation. When you do all the time, you have to do on both the sides. And after doing the hip rotation, now you can do the trunk rotation here. Do on the opposite side. And now we can do side lunging. Side lunging. You see? Okay, now we can do this way too, and do this way. Okay, I have several stretching exercises, but I'm going to make it short. Some of you might think, oh, why he's teaching these stretching exercises? He may not be well qualified. So for your kind information, I just wanted to let you know that by profession, I'm a physical education teacher. I've been teaching physical activities and games and sports to all my students while I was in India for almost 7-8 years. So that's the reason why I'm, combining the fitness and driving together. I hope you all enjoy this, and in the coming days, I'll come up with more and more videos on driving and fitness. Thank you. And now I'm going to go and do the pre-trip inspection before we go on a long trip, we need to do pre-trip we need to know about our vehicle, and then we also have to do the pre-trip inspection. Okay, now I'm going to start on pre-trip inspection of the vehicle, so that on the way the vehicle will not give you any kind of problems. Okay, that's it for now. Now we'll start pre-trip. Let's start I'm going to start the pre-inspection. Start the vehicle first. Okay, now the vehicle has started. Can you switch on the headlight, please? First low beam, and then high beam. Okay, good. Now can you switch on the hazard light or the four-way flashes, or it's also called emergency light? Okay, everything is good. Can you honk and check whether our horn is working properly or not? Very good. Okay. Now, can you also check whether the fuel in our car is good enough to travel a long distance? Okay, if the fuel level is good, that's very good. And now this side. Okay, now can you please turn on the left signal? Okay, now reverse light. Okay, I'm going at the back of the vehicle. Okay, can you please put the gear in reverse? Okay, very good. Now release the brake and let it roll and brake again. Good. Now put the gear in park. That's perfect. This vehicle is good for a long trip. This is how you do. And I'm forgetting. The last thing is you have to check your tires, 4 tires, and see that when my student, when I teach my student how to drive, the first and the foremost important thing that I tell my student is to put on the seat belt, which will save your life. I tell my student to put on the seat belt, and after that you have to adjust the seat according to your comfort and according to your height. Yeah, you can either go back or come in front. There's a lever below the seat, and you can pull up the lever and adjust your seat. Okay, in my case, since I'm tall, so I need to push the seat all the way back. So there is one lever on my left side. This way I can adjust the my back leaning, how much I want to lean my back. So this way I tell my student to adjust the seat and put on the seat belt. Now to adjust the mirror, I tell my students to start the car. Without starting the car, the side view mirrors, the left side view mirror and the right side view mirror is not going to move. So I tell my student to start the vehicle, start the engine. Okay, now the engine has started, and we have a small button here which is written L and R. L means I push it on the L, left side view mirror, and then I adjust my mirror. When I adjust my mirror, I tell my student that you should be able to see both the door handle, the front and the rear, as well as you have to see a little portion of the door and door handle, but majority of the space or the portion of mirror, you should be able to see the street. So now after adjusting the left mirror, I'm going to adjust the right mirror. Same thing. Whatever you did on the left side, you need to do on the right side. Now both my side view mirrors are good. Now the third thing is I tell my student to adjust the rear view mirror. When you adjust the rear view mirror, make sure that you see the rear windshield through this rear view mirror completely. Okay, so adjusting of the mirror is done, and seat are well adjusted. I had already put on my seat belt. Now for completely new students, I introduce the vehicle like this is the RPM gauge. RPM means revolution per minute. When I give a little bit of gas, when I give a little bit of gas, it goes up. RPM, each number represents 1,000 times. 1,000 revolution per minute, 2,000 revolution per minute, 3,000 revolution per minute. Okay, and this is speedometer: 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So whatever the speed limit is, we have to drive within the speed limit. And the number that you see over here is odometer. How many miles has the vehicle driven so far, and this is the fuel gauge. So it shows how much fuel do you have in your gas tank. Okay, so I introduce all these to my students, and including the gear lever. You see on gear lever, this is the gear lever. When you switch the gear, you have to depress or engage the brake, and then brake serves as a clutch. So we have to engage the brake and then switch the gear. P stands for park, R stands for reverse, N stands for neutral, and D stands for drive. And my student asked me, what is 3, 2, and L? I tell them that we don't use in New York City, throughout New York City, when we use this number 3, 2, L, when we climb up on the steep hill. At that time, if the vehicle is heavy and it doesn't pull on D, at that time we have to switch on 3, 2, and L. Otherwise, on normal driving situation, we don't have to engage in those gears. Okay, so I introduce the car to my students, and after that, then tell to my student that the two paddles that they have on the floor. The smaller paddle on the right is gas paddle, whereas the bigger paddle on the left is brake paddle. So I tell my student, I make sure that most of the drivers, and even I noticed the driver instructor also, they don't take much notice, or they don't take much importance on this gas and brake paddle. I saw most of the train driver as well as the students, they put the heel on the floor and they just move their ankle. I tell them not to do that, because when the student is nervous and the student doesn't turn the ankle all the way to the brake side and all the way to the gas side, and sometimes they press both the paddles together. So I always tell my students to lift up the foot while switching the paddle. Okay, I tell my student, okay, let's do this exercise: gas, brake, gas, brake, gas, brake, gas, brake. This is how you practice and make it a habit. And this way, you will never place your foot, you will never place your ankle on the floor. Always you have to lift up when you switch the paddle. Okay, now I had already told you about this signal. When you pull down the lever on the left side, you will see the left signal indication. That means we are either switching the lane on the left side or we are turning left. And when we push it up, that means we are either switching the lane on the right or we are turning right. Okay, and this hazard light means we are stopped here momentarily. When we are double parked, we put on the hazard light. When we are near the fire hydrant, we put on the hazard light. When we are stopped near the bus stop, we are we put on the hazard light. Putting on the hazard light is very important, so as to convey the message to other drivers that about your intention. So hazard light is very important. Once some passengers get down and some comes in the car, and after that then you have to turn off the hazard light. Okay, now after that I tell my student, most of the instructor I saw that they don't pay much attention about how the students turn their steering wheel. I saw should I say many or some of the students turning the steering wheel like this. Although it is permissible by rule, you can do this, but I discourage this. This is called push pull. One hand is pushing and the other hand is pulling. This is called push pull. One hand is pushing and the other hand is pulling. So to all my students, I always discourage this push pull method of turning the steering wheel. I always tell them to use hand over hand. Okay, now I'm going to do hand over hand. You see, you turn your steering wheel on the left. Once your left hand reaches at the bottom, you have to lift it up and grip it on the top. Okay, this way. Now it is locked, completely locked on the left side. Now I switch the, now I'm going to turn the steering wheel on the right side. You see? When my hand, the right hand reaches at the bottom, you have to release and bring it on the top. You see? Release and bring it on the top. Release and bring it on the top. Now I'm going to turn on the left. You see? When my left hand reaches at the bottom, release and bring it on the top. Release and bring it on the top. Release and bring it on the top. So I tell my, I let my student practice this several times. I tell them to do 10, 15 repetitions on each side. Like, you see? I keep on turning on the left. I keep on turning on the right. Like, I tell them to count and repeat. Okay, this is how I teach my student how to use hand over hand technique. Because, a few of the students who came to me, who practice driving from other driving school, and they are not satisfied, and they come to me, and I notice that they are using this push-pull technique. So I make sure that they learn and get habituated with using the hand over hand technique. Okay, so now I tell the student to put the gear in drive. You see, whenever you put the gear in drive, you will see the signal there, D. Not a signal, I should say sign. You will see the sign D. And when you put the gear in neutral, you will see N there. When you put the gear in reverse, you will see R there. And when you put the gear in park, you will see park. So I tell my student to put the gear in drive, and I tell my student not to use gas. When we release the brake, the vehicle is gonna roll in front. You don't have to use the gas. So I'm gonna slowly release. Okay, I'm gonna slowly release the brake. You see, the vehicle will go. And then once the vehicle goes, and one thing I wanted to tell you, which is very, very important. I tell my student to use all the parts of vehicle inside while you are driving like a small baby. You are holding a small baby in your hand. You have to hold it with the utmost care, and do not use force. Force is not at all required. This is power steering. You don't have to use a lot of force. Okay, and even the signal also, a slight push is good enough to turn the signal. Okay, turning the signal, or signaling your intention. So I tell my student to treat all the vehicle parts which are involved while driving with utmost care. So now I'm going to release the brake, and then I tell my student to practice gas and brake. Gas, I give a slight gas, and then my foot is again on the brake. Gas, slight gas, again on the brake. Gas, brake, gas, brake, gas, brake, gas, brake, gas, brake. So when I reach here, so this way, this street is one way towards the left. So when I reach here, I tell my student to turn on the left signal and make a complete U-turn. Make a complete U-turn, implementing the hand over hand technique that we just learned. Okay, so over here now again, I have a different method of teaching. So now I'm gonna, okay, I will show you a technique where I teach my student to get practice over hand practice. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I tell my student to get practice on hand over hand technique. Okay, you see, I tell my student to maneuver the car forming figure of 8. Maneuvering the car forming figure of 8. You know the number 8 in English. Okay, so I'm gonna form figure of 8. Now I will do figure of 8. You see, I completely turn my steering wheel on the left and I lock it, and I go there, and once I reach here, I turn the steering wheel completely on the right and lock it. So this is how I make my student to practice hand over hand. Hand over hand. You see, I'm creating figure of 8. I'm creating figure of 8. You see, now I'm turning my steering wheel all the way on the left and locking the steering wheel, and the vehicle will obviously swing on the left side. Once I reach here, I will turn the steering wheel all the way on the right and lock it. So this way the vehicle is gonna swing on the right. This is how I make my student practice hand over hand. Now I'm gonna turn all the way to the, now you see at the same time I have to watch for these bikes and vehicles if they are coming towards us, which is a hazard. So now okay, now you have already seen, how I give practice to my student, hand over hand technique. Okay, now which I make my student to practice hand over hand is going zigzag. Or I tell my student that you have to go like snake. I ask my student, have you seen snake in your life? Yes, they will say, some will say, we have seen in YouTube or in movies or in videos, but we have never seen through our naked eye. Some will say, yeah, they have seen the snake. So in other words, we'll move in a zigzag way. And when you are moving in a zigzag way, make sure that you switch on the hazard light so that other drivers who are coming on the street, they will come to know that this is a student driver car, so they are practicing driving. So you see, zigzag, turn on the right, turn on the left, 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 turn on the right. Okay, now from here I'm going to make a complete U-turn, turn on the left signal. Okay, hazard light is on. So okay, this is how I make my student practice hand over hand technique. So all my students use hand over hand technique, and they don't use the push pull method. Why I'm stressing on this point is, hand over hand technique is very good, especially during the emergency situation. The time frame that you can react is faster with a hand over hand technique than push pull. Push pull takes longer time, whereas hand over hand you can avoid the hazard. You can avoid the hazard. Okay, this is how I give training to my students. Okay, now I can put on, I'll keep the hazard light on. And now the next thing that I teach my student, because all the students are nervous. All the students are nervous. They are telling, oh, I'm very nervous. I'm afraid. So all the students complain this. But I just wanted to tell all my students that nervousness is normal. You are showing an emotion. So without an emotion, a person is abnormal. So nervousness is normal. Even I also, when I gave my driving test, or when I gave my driving test as an instructor also, I also got nervous. Although I drive perfectly, and I know the rules, everything, but still I get nervous. So I just wanted to tell all my students, do not be nervous, and even if you are nervous, don't think that you are the only person who is nervous. Okay, now the next thing that I give practicing of the brake pedal and the gas pedal. Most of the students, when they are new, they out of nervousness, instead of applying brake, they mistakenly apply on the gas pedal. So I give this practice. Okay, I give this practice: gas, brake, gas, brake, gas, brake. Okay, I just wanted to tell all my students that gas pedal is on the right side and it's smaller pedal, whereas brake pedal is on the left side. So I give this constant practice, maybe 50, 100 times. Gas, brake, gas, brake, gas, brake, gas, brake, gas, brake. Okay, now since I've reached here, now I'm gonna turn off the hazard light. I'll make a U-turn and then we'll start driving on the street. Okay guys, hope you are enjoying my YouTube instructions on the driving. and I'll keep giving instructions, and whatever questions and doubts you have, please let me know. Now this is double park, so I signal on the left, go on the left side. Once I cross the vehicle, then I come back on the right and I turn on my right signal. Okay, so now we'll keep okay, put on the seat belt. Okay, now we'll we'll drive on the street, and as and when we drive on the street, I'll keep on explaining. Okay, now the speed limit of the city is 25. So as a student driver, when you are going for a road test, yeah, you see, when you see any vehicle near the intersection, we have to make them know that we are here, and just if needed you can honk also. Now this stop sign, there are two stop signs in America and in Canada. One is regular stop and one is stop all way. Stop all way means after coming to a stop behind the solid white line, whoever comes first goes first. Since I'm first, I go first. And many of my students also ask, I'm either driving more towards the left side, or I'm driving more towards the right side. So what should I do? What is my solution, or what's my remedy? So this is a stops all way. So after coming to a stop, I check all the direction, and I came first, I go first. So what I tell is, you just draw 10 imaginary lines from the yellow line to the parked car. 10 imaginary line. After drawing 10 imaginary line, you have to drive, your steering wheel should be at the center of fourth line. If your steering wheel is at the center of fourth line, that means you are driving at the center of the lane. So I have many students, and after I gave this formula, all the students are doing very well. Okay, you see, now the light is red, traffic light is red. Okay, so when I stop behind a vehicle, don't go too close. You should be able to see the rear tire of the vehicle in front of you, or otherwise, in other words, they also call that there should be a car's length. Maybe when they say car's length, they are talking about a sedan car. Okay, now the light is green, and while you are driving, you should look at your speedometer also. Make sure that you are not driving over the speed limit, or you are not driving too slow, thereby impeding the flow of other traffic. Okay, while driving, you don't have to keep on watching on the speedometer, but occasionally just check at the speedometer and see that at what speed you are driving. Okay, now it's almost sunset, so I'm gonna put on my headlights, and while I'm making a right turn, I should scan at my right side view mirror, and if there is any pedestrian crossing, make sure never ever try to cross the turn before the pedestrian crosses the crosswalk completely. Okay, now you see, most of the time the bike lane is on the right side, but I don't know for what reason. In a few of the street I saw, you see, when you see this speed breaker, you have to slow down. Yeah, I'm talking about the bike lane. Most of the bike lanes are on the right side, but I don't understand the reason behind making the bike lane on the left side. This is a question to the DMV. I don't understand. I don't see any. Okay, now the street light is red, so I'm stopping behind the solid. Always you have to stop behind the solid white line. And when the street light is red, I just wanted to, it doesn't matter. Now the light is green, so we're going to proceed. But while proceeding, I just wanted to let you know about the grip on the steering wheel. The grip on the steering wheel, you have to consider this steering wheel as a wall clock. You have to consider this steering wheel as a wall clock, you see? And when you see at the clock, this is 12 o'clock. And whereas at the bottom it is 6, and on your right it is 3, and on your left it is 9. So when you hold the steering wheel, your hand always should be on the top of 3 and 9. Okay, make sure you don't hold your steering wheel here, you don't hold your steering wheel here, you don't hold your steering wheel here, you don't hold your steering wheel, and you are not supposed to hold the steering wheel with one hand. Okay, this is one, stop all the way. After coming to a stop, check all direction, and then I'm gonna make a right turn here. Okay, so I'm letting you know that you're supposed to hold the steering wheel on the top of 3 and 9. And even I too have the habit of holding one hand on the gear lever, because I drove this manual or the stick shift. So I too have the habit of holding on the gear lever. So it's always advisable that you hold both the hands on the steering wheel. And when you drive, always look for hazard as well as signs and signals. Okay. And one important thing that I wanted to tell you is, whenever there is pedestrian, you have to be very, very careful. The rule says that pedestrian is always right. Even if they are doing something wrong, the rule says that the pedestrian is always right. So you never know what the pedestrian is going to do. And especially, you have to look out for children playing on the street. They might come after a ball. So you have to be very cautious, very alert, and always on the toe while you are driving, because you have to drive responsibly. Okay. Now, yeah, this guy, he has a stop sign, but he has decided to cross, but we have to be alert. Okay, now I'm going to make a right turn here. We have this stop always sign here. I'm going to come to a gentle stop. Like I said in the beginning, you have to treat all the parts of your car which are involved while driving as a small baby. You always have to think that you are handling a small baby. Now a bump is coming across, slow down. Bump or the speed breaker. So now I already told you how to drive at the center. Draw 10 imaginary line, and after drawing 10 imaginary line, just drive, keep your steering wheel straight and drive on the 4th line, and you will be driving at the center of the lane. I hope all my students and those who will watch my video will find this video very helpful. Okay, so occasionally you just check your speed limit also. Now again, I'm coming across a stop all the way. Now from here, I'm gonna make after coming to a complete stop, I'm gonna make a left turn. Okay, now it is my turn, so I don't have to wait for anybody. Now I have to come up to the center of the lane, center of the street, and then make a left turn. Whenever you are making a left turn on two-way street, you have to turn wide. You have to go up to the center and turn. And when you are making a right turn on the two ways, it has to be a sharp turn. Now he came first, this guy is second, and I'm third. Now I'm going. Okay. Now from here, I'm gonna make a right turn, the next right turn. And whenever you make a turn, you have to always make sure to read the sign, two-way traffic ahead. So this is two-way. So when you are driving on a two-way street, always remain on the right side. Always remain on the right side. And keep driving. Keep your eyes moving. Occasionally scan your mirrors, the right, left, and the rear. Okay, now the traffic light is red, so I'm gonna slow down and prepare to stop. And whenever you stop, you have to stop always behind the solid white line. Now the street is green, the light is green, so we're gonna proceed. Okay, over here you see the school sign. So whenever you see the school sign, you have mostly the speed limit is 20, so you have to drive slow and always slow and careful. Now over here you see that sign, 2 arrows downward. That means the road, one lane splits into 2. So I'm keeping on the left, so I put on the left signal, and after driving on the left, then I turn off the signal. Okay, over here you see a signal, and you see 2 signals. This means the road has a divider. Okay, and also you don't have to stop here for pedestrian. If you see pedestrian, then only you stop. You check on the left side, right side, and if you don't see any pedestrian, no need to stop. If you see pedestrian, then only you have to stop. Now the yellow light always means slow down and prepare to stop. Now from here, I'm gonna make a left turn. Okay, I'll stop behind the solid white line, and I'll wait. Well, instructor, I can speak 5 different languages. but since English is an international language, so I decided to explain everything in English. Now you see, since this is two-way, so I'm just driving up to the yellow cross line, and I have to let these cars go first because they have more right. You see, the right turning vehicle has more right than the left turning vehicle. After all the vehicle have turned right, then the last turn is the vehicle turning left. Okay, like I said before, when you stop behind a vehicle, make sure that you don't go too close. Okay, you should be able to see the rear tire. The purpose of stopping behind is, if in case the vehicle in front of us breaks down, we should be able to maneuver. We should be able to pull out. So that is the reason why we have to keep distance, or we have to stop and keep some distance. Now he's turning left, so we don't have to wait behind him. If we have space, I always tell my student to turn on the signal your intention, and go around. You see, I told you, most of the bike lines are on the right side, but I don't understand the reason why they make the bike lane on the left side. This is a question to the DMV. I don't see any reason. It's confusing other drivers. So it's always better to make the bike lane on the right side. Okay, so you see, the cameras installed, so you shouldn't drive above 25. You see, if you drive above 35, then you will get a ticket, $50 ticket. So be careful and never drive above 35. Okay, always drive within the speed limit. Okay, now this is double park, so he's not decided what to do. So I'm gonna turn on my left signal, go around, and after crossing the vehicle, I turn on the right signal and come back on the right side. You see these signs, that means that there's a park nearby. So whenever you see park nearby, you have to be very careful. Okay, now this guy is turning left, so I have a space. I turn on my right signal, go around, turn on my left signal, and come back on my left lane. Okay, always see the speed limit, and like I said, speed limit is 25 in the city. And one most important thing that I wanted to all my student driver as well as the trained driver to know is, when the weather condition is bad, drive slow. When the traffic condition is bad, drive slow. When the road condition is bad, drive slow. These are the rules. It's not just an advice, but it's a rule. Okay, and although it's not raining now, but the rule says, when your windshield wiper is on, your headlight has to be on. When your windshield wiper is on, your headlight has to be on. This is the rule. Okay, for your kind information. And now I'm just waiting for the light to turn green. And always, when you are driving, make sure that you keep an eye on the signs and signals. And when you are turning either on the left or right, you have to beforehand you have to make sure the street on which you are turning, either it's a one-way or two-way street. Now I'm turning left here. The one-way, it clearly indicates with a arrow. Now when you are turning left, if there is any vehicle coming within a block, you shouldn't turn. You have to wait. And once now this red vehicle had already turned, now I can turn. Okay, over here it says 20 miles per hour, so I shouldn't drive too fast. Okay. Now again there's a school, so you will see this school sign. Okay, over here I have a stop sign. This stop sign is without any right of way. I'm gonna make a right turn here. Okay, I'll come at a complete stop behind the solid white line. After coming to a complete stop, just release the brake and let the vehicle roll in front or inch out. And after inching out, stop again. Actually you don't have to stop twice at this stop sign, but some of the examiner, they want the student to stop twice. My student tell me that the examiner told me to stop twice for this stop sign. the very purpose of stop sign is to make sure that you watch very carefully, and if there is no hazard, then only we proceed. Actually, no need to stop twice, but some of the examiner, they want the student to stop twice. So yeah, let's be on the safer side and stop twice. Okay, now I'm gonna make a left turn here. I'm gonna make a left turn here, and like you see, like always, when you are making a turn, make sure the street on which you are turning is one way or two way. Since it is two way, I'll go up to the center or up to the middle, and this car is coming from 2 blocks away, so I don't have to wait for this car. Okay, now it's getting dark, so I'm gonna make a broken I'll do a broken U-turn, and then maybe in another 10-15 minutes I will end my video here, and many new videos will follow thereafter. So keep watching, keep following, and keep viewing, and keep sharing. Okay, when I wanted to do a broken U-turn, signal right and come on the right edge, and the purpose of coming on the right edge is to create more space on the left. Now I put on my left signal, turn the steering wheel all the way to the left, and scan the mirror. One on the left side view mirror, 2 over your left shoulder, 3 at the right rear view mirror, 4 on the right side view mirror, and 5th on my right shoulder to check for the blind spot. Now I don't see any hazard, so I'm gonna slowly drive on the left, and I stop here. After stopping, I put the gear in drive. I switch the gear in reverse and put on the right signal. After putting on the right signal, because it's too congested, so I turn my steering wheel all the way to the right, and after turning my steering wheel all the way to the right, I check on the left side, nothing is there. I check on the right side, nothing is there, and after checking left and right, then I look at back over my shoulder. You see, I tell my student to check left, right, and back. Now once I reach here, now I turn on the left signal, I turn my steering wheel all the way to the left, and now after turning my steering wheel all the way to the left and locking it, now I check on the right side. The purpose of checking on the right side first is the right side is open, so driver will come rushing. So it's always important to check on the open side first. Right, left, and front. Right, left, and front. Okay, I have to switch the gear to drive. Okay, now I drive in front. Okay, since this is two-way, so always keep it on the right. And when you see speed breaker, you slow down. Slow down. Okay, now the light is green, so we proceed. Up to here it's two-way, but once I cross the street, then it becomes one-way. So you have to be very careful, and you have to always look for signs and signals. And although it's one way, but the street, the lane is too wide. So if the lane is too wide, always you have to keep it on the right side, because the vehicle traveling faster, vehicle moving faster will always go on the left side. Okay, now this guy is trying to do a parallel parking, I think. So I'm gonna go away from the hazard, turn on my left signal, and then after that turn on my right signal and come back on my right lane. Now I gently, in driving, these words or these phrases are very important. Nice and easy. I always use these words to my student. Nice and easy, slow and smooth. Once you are very nice and easy and slow and smooth with your vehicle, then you will drive your vehicle very smoothly and very comfortably with yourself as well as with the passengers inside your car. Nice and easy and slow and smooth. Okay, when the road condition is bad, make sure to slow down. When the road condition is bad, make sure to slow down. And when the weather condition is bad, make sure to slow down. And when the traffic condition is bad, make sure to slow down. Okay, always when you stop behind a vehicle, you should make sure that you are able to see the rear tire of the vehicle in front of you. Never go too close. We are supposed to drive in the center, but these guys are, keeping on the right side. Occasionally, scan your mirror on the left, on the right, and rear view mirror. Occasionally, it's better. Why is this guy stopped when the light is green? It's creating confusion to the drivers as well as to the pedestrian. If the pedestrian is trying to cross when the light is green, you have to honk and alert them. And even after honking and alerting them, if they insist on crossing, then we have no choice but to slow down. And if need be, if need arises, we have to brake hard to save our life and to save the life of the pedestrian. Okay, now I'm gonna make a right turn on 35th Avenue, and I'll stop near my residence. Okay, make sure when you're turning right, scan the right mirror and check that no pedestrian is crossing the crosswalk. Okay, now this is double parked, so I signal on the left side. Once I finish crossing the double parked vehicle, I signal back on the right side and I go on the right side. Okay, now this guy turned left, so I have to just cover my brake and slow down. Okay guys, now I'm gonna finish my video here, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and many more helpful videos relating to the driving, safe driving. I'll keep on posting, and do watch, and if you like my videos, watch, like, share and subscribe. Thank you so much, and this will be the end of today's video. And put the gear in park and put on the hazard light because I'm double parked right now. Okay, hope all my viewers have enjoyed my video, and I'll keep posting, and if you have any questions and doubt, please do not hesitate to ask me. Okay, you text me, and I'm gonna definitely either on my next video I'm gonna answer you, or I'll text you back and clarify your doubt and questions. Thank you very much, and have a great evening. Enjoy, and may God bless you.